Inside the Story with Anderson Cooper.
I'm not trying to hold just my family and an institution to account. It's the British press as well.
This week on 60 Minutes, I interviewed Prince Harry for his upcoming book, Spare.
Yeah, of course.
One of the things that interested me about interviewing Prince Harry is, and frankly reading his book, is that we don't really know who he is.
I've discovered so much through the last 2 years about my own story. Me being born into this family, the sibling rivalry that comes from that, the relationship with the media, every element of it.
Anybody who's been interested at all in the royal family has watched Prince Harry grow up from the moment he was born. The public has a certain perception of all these people that they read about or they see on television, and yet the reality of how that person sees themselves and sees their own life is often very different, and I find that a really interesting subject. When I agreed to do this interview, I obviously had not read the book yet, but I did not expect there to be such a focus on the early trauma in Harry's life. One of the things that surprised me and interested me was how the loss of his mother when he was 12 years old completely altered the course of the rest of his life.
For most people who, have lost a parent or lost a sibling at a young age, that's, I think, once you've accepted that they're gone, then you accept your life is never going to be the same ever again.
It changed the person who he was, and that's something I personally felt a sort of understanding of because of losing my dad when I was 10 years old. And I didn't realize going into this that the subject of grief and loss would be something that was so present in his life for the rest of his life.
Having been through what you've been through now, do you understand your mom differently?
In what sense?
In a deeper way?
Of what she was going through?
I think one thing I've realized about grief and loss is that one's relationship with somebody who's died continues, and your understanding of them actually can change over time. Having been through what you went through with the family, with your wife, the press, do you understand your mother from a different angle?
Over the years, I have understood it more, but yes, certainly as a parent to two little kids, I'm starting to comprehend the position that she was in as a mother, single parent, trying to look after two boys with this intense media harassment. It wasn't online then, it was very much physical. She was being chased for the majority of her life when she got together with my father. It got so much worse after the divorce. So I've done and continue to do everything I can to make sure that that doesn't happen to my family, because it certainly doesn't seem as though the British press have changed their ways. I've made peace with losing her, but I'm now very much focused on turning that pain into purpose.
In the book, Prince Harry talks about the different roles that each of them had, heir and spare.
When did you first hear that term, the spare?
Probably my earliest memory back is probably when I was a teenager.
You say that you were 20 when you heard the story that your father, after your birth, said to your mom, "You've given me an heir and now a spare, my work is done."
That is what has been said.
Do you think that's true?
From the different places that I've heard it, yes. It may well have been a joke, but yeah.
Was that a term people used in front of you?
It wasn't regularly used by the family in different scenarios, but there's a general understanding and a feeling that is, again, projected across the newspapers. I don't know where William and I would be on a relationship level if the British press weren't involved, but we would certainly be a hell of a lot closer than we are now.
How does the British press play into your relationship with William?
His life is very much chosen for him. Perhaps my life wasn't chosen for me, but equally I felt like I needed to make something of my life so that I didn't end up as a spare's spare. There was an expectation for him, and there was probably an expectation for me. And certainly from the British press's standpoint, it was, you're the spare. We can do whatever we want with you. And you're not allowed to defend yourself, you're not allowed to kick back, especially within the family construct that we have.
What would your mom think about what's happened to you and your brother?
I think she'll be sad that it is where it is now. So I believe that she would want reconciliation. And I hope that's what's achievable.